eFootball has a lot of different playstyles for every single player on the game. I'll be revealing every advantage and disadvantage for every player playstyle. But for this video, we're just gonna be talking about the playstyle for the defensive line. And not just that, I will also gonna give you the free map about how to build your perfect defensive line. And even more, I will tell you the best player skill for each of them. But something you gotta keep in mind is that the playstyle is gonna be working when you're not controlling the player. Now you get that the first playing style we're gonna be talking about is the build-up player. For this playing style, the only position it can be activated is here on the center back position. You might be thinking the role of this player is gonna be the one who's gonna be upward and trying to create the game, but that's not actually the case. His role is simple. He will always going to be back. He's not gonna make pressure to the opponent. He will reserve himself instead of making pressure. He will follow the player who is running. He don't care about making pressure to the opponent who has the ball. His main goal, going back, protect possible passes from the opponent and protect his position. Now you understand how a build-up player works. It's time to talking about the destroyer playing style. This player style, he's literally the opposite as the build-up player. He doesn't actually care to protecting his space or going back or something like that. If he has the chance to make pressure to the opponent, he always gonna be there. He always gonna be aggressive, trying to get the ball as quick as possible. But as I said, he don't care about protecting his space. But this playing style is something different as the build-up. He's not just compatible on the center back position, he also can be played as the fullback, DMF, and as the CMF. As you can see, this playstyle can be played in different ways. Now the next one is going to be extra frontman. Like the build-up playing style, the only position he could be playing is as the center back. This playing playstyle on the pitch is gonna be acting way different than other center back. Most of the time when your teammate has the ball on their position, you always gonna see this player trying to make a run upward to the goal of the opponent. When I was playing different matches, I have also discovered something interesting about this player. First and foremost, you have to make a pass to the player. That basically means the player must touch the ball and then he will start making that run that he is actually doing right now. And also, if you use the quick counter play style, this is gonna make the player run to the goal of the opponent more often. This is because, you know, the quick counter is so aggressive. Now let's move on to the next one. It's a little bit confusing. It doesn't have any play style. I gotcha, let me explain. This type of player like Rijkaard, they are playing in a different position because normally they play as a DMF. And this player, because he has his playstyle deactivated, he's gonna be taking the role of destroyer and also the role of build-up player. Basically, he can do whatever and whenever he wants. Now you might wondering, where the heck am I getting this player, right? It's pretty simple. To find it, the player must be either another command or defensive fullback. And lastly, very important, this player must be compatible in the position of center back, because if he is not compatible, he's not gonna perform as much as possible. And with that being said, we already have completed all the playing style for the center back position. And now let's move on to the fullbacks, where we have three different playing styles. And we had the first and foremost defensive fullback. As the name says, he's a defensive player. He's not gonna make him pressure to the opponent. He always gonna be backward, to be honest. You barely gonna see him going upward to attack. And talking about the attacker, the offensive fullbacks basically is a player who's gonna be running to the flank. Always you have to be aware of this player because every time you has the ball, he always gonna be running over there. Now we had the fullback finisher. He kinda look like the offensive fullback, but there's a difference. He's gonna be running in the middle of the pitch. He don't run on the flank, instead in the middle. Now my boy, you should understand how they work on the gameplay. Now I'm gonna give you the best playing style for every player for every defensive line. I'm gonna start off with the defensive line of 3 players, but 2 of them gonna be with the play style deactivated, so then in the gameplay they're gonna make pressure to the opponent whenever they want, and also they're gonna be intercepting the ball. And the third one, we're gonna use a destroyer. In case if you feel like the destroyer is leaving you a lot of space on the defensive line, you might change it up for a build-up player. If you don't have any of those players, you can use Ronaldo, Tomiyasu, and Araujo. Now moving on the defensive line of 4 players, the center back, we're gonna use one of them as a build-up player and the other one would be a destroyer. Just don't forget the build-up player, he's gonna be the chill guy, you know, he's not gonna be so aggressive as the destroyer. And lastly, we will have the fullback. One of them, we're gonna use them as an offensive fullback, while the other one is gonna be a defensive fullback. If you wanna play more defensive, you can use both of them as a defensive fullback. The one I've been using it for me is one of the best combination that you can do in the game is using the player with no playstyle with the destroyer, a defensive fullback plus an offensive fullback. With this combination you have here, bro, trust me, you're gonna be annoying the player so bad. And as always, I got you, bro. If you're just starting off on the game, you can use Tomiyasu with no playstyle. Destroyer gonna be Araujo, and then Robertson gonna be the offensive fullback, while Wan-Bissaka gonna be the defensive one. And finally, we have the defensive line of 5 players. I ain't gonna lie, I don't actually use 5 players on the defensive line, but just to have an idea, you can use both fullbacks as an offensive fullback. The one who's going in the middle gonna be a build-up player, and the 2 players side by side gonna be destroyers. And if you feel like the defensive line is so risky, it's more aggressive, you can use the left fullback as the defensive one, and we will remove the destroyer for a no playstyle. There is a setting on the game, and if you have it on, it's gonna make the player move differently, whether it's being more aggressive or defensive. The name of the setting I'm talking about is called level attack and defense, which they have 2 levels. We got defensive, ultra defensive, attack, and ultra attack. If you have turned on this option on defensive, you're gonna see most of your players going back. They're gonna be defense, but be careful because they are not gonna make pressure to the opponent. They will prefer to go back to their position, to their original position, and then looking for certain intercept occasion to take over the ball. Now if you have this option in ultra defensive, you're gonna see all your players, including the strikers, going completely back to the defense. The main goal right now is trying to take over the ball. They don't care about scoring anymore. Now let's move on to the attacking option. If you have it on attack, the first bar, the player is gonna be more aggressive than usual. The main goal is trying to take over the ball and then starting the counter attack. Something really important you should be aware about is that the defensive line is gonna be more upward, trying to make pressure to the opponent.
Might be danger here.
Now if you have this option on ultra offensive, you're gonna see most of your players go into the attack. But be careful because one of your center back, which is here Araujo, he is gonna be the one who's gonna be more aggressive because I don't know why. Maybe he has more aggressive on his stats, and that makes him go around into the goal of the opponent. But yeah, he's gonna be the one on the center back who's gonna be running every time we have this option on ultra offensive. So make sure you be aware of this aspect because most of the time this center back gonna be attacking. It's time to talk about the skills of the players because those skills gonna make them perform even better. I can't stress this out. This is really actually the key if you wanna defense on the game. These player skills that I'm about to show you gonna make the defense even more stronger. Starting off with the build-up player, he cannot miss this player skill, which is the interception. With this skill, it's gonna be way easier for them to intercept. The next skill is the man marking, then blocker, sliding tackle, and finally aerial superiority. On the other side, we're gonna have the same player skill for the destroyer. For the extra frontman, we will have the same skill, but we're gonna add one-touch pass and through passing. These 2 skills is really important because it's gonna make the pass of the player more accurate. The defensive fullbacks will have the same skill as the other one, although the offensive fullback is a little bit more different. We're gonna add them a weighted pass, one-touch pass, pinpoint crossing, low lofted pass, and through passing. And that's basically it for this video. I hope this video was really helpful for you, just to have you an idea about how the playing style for the player works. And nothing more to say, bro. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button, drop this little beautiful like, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.